What up, my fellow dorks? It is the Turtle Dork back with a new recap because we are currently here at San Diego Comic Con, and we have finished 2 days, Thursday and Friday. Now, I've done a couple of trailer reactions that have dropped during the con, but I kind of just want to give you a little recap of some of the stuff that I've experienced as far as like footage and movies and little tidbits and things that have gone on the last 2 days, whether in Hall H or other panels that I've gone to. So just to kind of give you a quick recap, I'm gonna try to keep this quick. There's a lot that I experienced within Thursday and Friday, but the only thing from Thursday I really want to talk about is the new Nickelodeon show TMNT Rise of the TMNT. That was held in room 6A. Now we got to see the voice cast come out and talk about their experience of making this show. And I will say that I haven't really been on board with this new iteration of the Turtles because of the design of the Turtles that I saw. But I did mention that leading up to this panel that I was impressed with the animation style because they did drop some character profiles online that really kind of swayed me as far as what to expect from this show. And I gotta tell you, after experiencing that panel with the creators, with the actors, and then this footage that they showed us, now I do agree that this is aimed at kids. And it's geared towards kids, which it should be, being on Nickelodeon. But I will say that the animation and what they have done with these characters and when this actual story takes place for the Turtles makes a lot of sense for the story. And then when you look at the voice cast for the villains, they have John Cena, which we'll talk about him a little bit later, and Lena Headey as two of the main villains. And then they have another rogues gallery of villains that they're going to use, and they compared it to Batman 66, where you don't just have Shredder, you have a rogues gallery of villains that you can play with in different episodes throughout the seasons. And I think that is going to be really, really cool to see as well. But the dynamics of the Turtles, they get that down perfectly, and it works for where they are now, because this is actually, you can almost say this is like a prequel to the Turtles that we know and love, where you have Raph as the leader and they're coming into their own. So this is the Turtles before the Turtles that, that's kind of in canon that everybody knows and loves. So with that, I just think if you're an OG fan, I say give the show a chance. First, I'm not gonna say that it's aimed towards you, but I will say give the show a chance because it looks pretty damn cool. That out the way. Let's get to today. Today that I'm recording this, it is Friday night. I'm gonna get dressed really quick. I gotta shower, change, and get back out so I can get in line for Hall H for Saturday. But Walking Dead was in Hall H. I spent all of today in Hall H, and The Walking Dead was one of the first panels I want to talk about. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time because I haven't been keeping up with this show. I fell off this past season because it just didn't interest me. But I think one interesting tidbit about what we saw at the panel today is that Andrew Lincoln did confirm that he is leaving the show after this season. It's unfortunate. I don't know what circumstances led him to this decision. He did mention on the panel that he does want to spend more time with his family, which makes a lot of sense if you think about the time commitment that it takes to make The Walking Dead. Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense for him. I do think he does want to pursue other opportunities. You look at a lot of the other cast members, and I mentioned this in our Sorry to Bother You review cast, like you look at somebody like Stephen Yeun who played Glenn, and Glenn is a beloved character. But I'm looking at Stephen Yeun now, and I like seeing that the fact that he is starting to get other roles, and he's starting to really kind of expand his career, and he has a lot more options. And it's great to be on a hit TV show, but I think after a while it starts to kind of put a halt to your career. And I think, like me personally, I think he wants to pursue other opportunities. But with that being said, He was very gracious. He got a standing ovation at the end of that panel, which was well deserved. I mean, he's given almost 10 years of his life to playing the character of Rick Grimes. But with the trailer for The Walking Dead, um, it it looks interesting. And from what I know of the comics, they are definitely moving this storyline ahead. Um, they tease the Whisperers. We don't really get to see much from that, but we do tease that, and we do see a little bit more of the friction between Lauren Cohen's character. Goodness, I can't think of her, Maggie, and Daryl. But they are still kind of working together because there's also a time jump. We see a major time jump from the end of this last season to where we start season 9. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out and what ultimately happens to Rick Grimes as he's written out of this show. Enough with The Walking Dead. Let's get to Glass. Glass, I thought, was amazing. You look at the trajectory of M. Night's career. I thought he started off strong, had a bit of a dip. I think he got a little bit too in his ego, but then he was humbled with a lot of the films that bombed, and then he started to kind of make his way back. And it's amazing to see critically and with the fans, how much he has changed his perception, because when you it's been well noted that M. Night has his ego got the best of him, and fans could turn on you quick, and it's hard to get that back. But the way you get your fans back is by making good movies, and he did that with The Visit. Was I think was the start of that change, and Split. I thought it was amazing, absolutely amazing. And then when you see, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Split, how it ties into Unbreakable, which in my opinion I think is his best film, that was came out in 2000, I think. Um, it was just, you knew that this man was back. So now we have Glass, and Glass looks amazing. So he was very gracious on the panel. It was great to see Bruce Willis in the Hall H and the reception that he received. It was great to see Sam Jackson, who dropped the first motherfucker in Hall H for this particular Comic Con. It's not like it's the first time we heard that, but of course it would be Sam Jackson. But yeah, Anya Taylor Joy was there in the trailer. The trailer looks amazing. Now I talked to Mouth Dork. I know he has a little bit of reservations for it. Now I haven't watched the trailer since seeing it in Hall H, but I want to go back and watch it again a few more times and really kind of dissect and analyze as far as what's really going on in that trailer. But what I saw, and just being able to see all three of these characters together, seeing the Beast, seeing Bruce Willis's character, seeing Mr. Glass, um, it it's exciting. It's extremely exciting. So yeah, that was I was really enthused about that. But then the second half of that Universal panel, we had Jason Blum's Halloween, and man, I am not a big horror guy. I will say I am not a huge horror fan, but Halloween looks amazing. Now, the sizzle reel that they showed us starts off with basically Michael Myers on Halloween night going through the neighborhood, and it's one shot. It's a tracking shot, a dollar. It's basically one shot following Michael Myers as he weaves his way through the neighborhood, killing people. it it's just awesome. I don't want to give too much away, but that tracking shot that they start off with, and having the camera follow him from his vantage point, from his POV, I thought was really, really interesting to start off that way. But man, I I don't want to do a play by play because I really want people to experience this. But all I will say is that the one shot, the violence, um, and some of the scares and that they showed when they really got into the sizzle reel. If you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of Michael Myers, if you're a fan of the slasher genre, I got a feeling from what I saw that you are going to be extremely happy with this film. Um, Next, I think is was the best panel, and I wasn't really expecting this. Was Bumblebee. Bumblebee. The panel was amazing. The footage they showed was amazing. I love hearing Travis Knight talk about this movie. Everything Travis Knight said about Transformers is everything the fans wanted to hear from him about this movie. As far as bringing the emotionality, bringing the heart uh, back into who the character of Bumblebee is, really paying attention to the aesthetic of the design of the Transformers, harkening back to the Gen 1 that most people who grew up with Transformers know and love. Um, if you know the type of filmmaker that Travis Knight is, especially being involved with Leica, you know what he is capable of bringing to this role. And then the cast comes out, and John Cena basically. Let me rewind that. First, they had what's his name, Stan Bush, come out, and they did like a little light show, and he performed "You Got the Touch." So, just having that, you know that this is a different film. They started this panel letting people know this is the first time Transformers has ever been in Hall H. So to start off that panel with you a live performance of "You Got the Touch," like it was perfect, absolutely perfect. Then we get into the panel and everything I said about Travis Knight, and then you get the intro from John Cena. And man, John Cena knows how to make an entrance, and it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And then just listening to him and watching him on the panel and how he interacted with the other cast members and with the crowd and with the people asking questions. I mean, John Cena is a showman, and it makes sense. Him being a wrestler, him and The Rock. There's a reason why uh, they have these dynamic personalities, and he's awesome, man. Like, if I wasn't a fan of John Cena before, I am a fan, a diehard fan now. I am looking forward to anything that man does. He is awesome. So after Bumblebee, we get into Sony's panel, and Sony's panel was Into the Spider Verse. Into the Spider Verse was really, really good. I'm gonna try to wrap this up really soon. It's just this and Venom I want to talk about, but Into the Spider Verse, we get to learn a little bit more about who's going to be in this movie. Of course, we have older Peter Parker, who's presumed to be dead. We have Miles Morales, and we have Spider-Gwen, and we see an opening scene with Miles Morales when he's discovering his powers. It kind of similar to what we saw in the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man when Peter Parker goes to school. We see a little bit of that with Miles Morales, but the way that it's done, it's so clever and it's so funny. There's just a whip smart uh, vibe about this movie when it comes to the dialogue, when it comes to the characters, and when it comes to the action. I mean, Lord and Miller have done something that we truly have not seen before. You could see it in that trailer, but when you looked at the footage in Hall H, you see it a lot more. And seeing it on the big screen and the dynamism of the action of the animation, and seeing that and seeing these different animation styles and how they really come together, I think is pretty remarkable, because that could be a tricky balance to have all these different type of animation styles come together, to have word bubbles come up when somebody is thinking. A lot of that stuff can come off a bit weird, and but I think they found that balance. They've been able to do it really, really well. But when you see a lot of the action, and I think you're really going to get into a lot of these characters, especially Miles Morales. I don't think you. I think we're going to just dive right into Miles' story, and I think audiences will be on board from jump. I mean, it's the way this movie is presented. I don't even think Spider-Man and Peter Parker and them being kind of synonymous with one another is going to be an issue for anybody, because that's always been a big question is, oh, I can't see anybody else playing Spider-Man outside of Peter Parker. This movie, I don't think you're going to have any issues with that, and I don't think it's not just because it's animated. I think with the voice acting of Shamik Moore, you're going to fall in love with the character of Miles Morales, and you're going to be able to buy into him being Spider-Man. Last was Venom. Venom was kind of cool. They gave us these masks to wear, and we had to chant "We are Venom." And they brought out the director, that Tom Hardy and Riz Ahmed was there, which was cool to see. They talked a little bit about the film, but really we just had to get into the footage. And the footage, to be honest with you, I wasn't amazed with. I'm definitely going to go ahead and check this movie out, but again, just like how when we watch certain trailers or watch a second trailer, and sometimes those trailers can heighten your expectations or get you more excited. Just even with this sizzle reel, and this was a very extensive sizzle reel that we got to see a lot more stuff. Um, I, People ate it up. I'm not gonna lie. Everybody ate that up. I wasn't really that impressed with the footage, and I'm not saying it was bad. Tom Hardy looks good in it, and the design of Venom I really like, and the villain. I guess this is going to be out there because other outlets are probably going to be talking about it. The villain, good Riot. Riot was the name of the villain. Now, there, I don't know if they're still teasing that Carnage will be in this movie. He definitely wasn't in the footage, at least from what I could tell. I didn't see Carnage, but I think the filmmakers know what is going to be enticing the fans and what the fans want to see, and they were being real coy about it. But so I think there's a good chance we could see Venom, or at least I'm sorry, Carnage, or a tease of Carnage. But yeah, I'm definitely going to go see it. That's a given. But if you ask me about the footage that we saw in Hall H, I wasn't impressed. But yeah, that is everything from the first 2 days that I wanted to talk about as far as my recap of 2018 San Diego Comic Con. I'm tired, my feet hurt. It's a bit of a weird con because of some other things. Of course, we've heard about the passing of John Schnepp, which has affected a lot of people in our community, and I've shed my tears, and I'll probably shed a lot more. And then just some other circumstances that this con for me personally has been a weird one, but it's been good and it's been exciting. But I think it's a con that makes makes me look at things a little bit differently. It gives me a little bit more perspective, and it like I talked about with Mouth Dork, that it's a little bit more introspective when you're looking at a lot of stuff that's been happening as far as the news that's come out. We won't talk about that here. I won't talk about that here. But yeah, but it's been enlightening to say the least. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video because I said I wanted this to be short, and it's moving into about 19-20 minutes. So yeah, guys, 2 days in the con from the time I'm recording this. Hopefully, I'll try to get this up by tomorrow morning, and I'll have another recap with WB's panel. Looking forward to that. And yeah, so with that, make sure you check out my other dorks at Mouth Dork, at the Disco Dork, and at Sidewalk Siren. And as for me, I am the Turtle Dork. And with that, your boy is out.